Hello, how are you today? I'm alright, actually, thanks for asking. So you've just been out and bought yourself a ZHIYUN WEEBILL S and you're not too sure on how to balance it. Well, let's go through it together. So first of all, you're going to need a camera of choice. I'm doing this today on a Canon M50, a spoon or a coin, your ZHIYUN WEEBILL S, and also the fixer plate or your sole plate, whatever you want to call it, and a stainless steel screw. Now if you're having trouble screwing this in, you need to go all the way past the zero and there's a little thread, screw it through the thread and get it like this. So the next thing, you need to attach the fixer plate to the bottom of your camera. That's where your spoon or your coin comes into play. On the bottom of the fixer plate you've got little numbers. The screw head wants to be in between the 4 and the 3 if you're using a Canon M50. I'm not too sure if you're using any other size camera. That's something you're going to have to figure out yourself. Right, if you haven't already done so, it's pretty straightforward. You've got the tripod and you just screw that in to the bottom of the ZHIYUN WEEBILL S. Also, if you haven't done it already, you're going to need to charge the batteries up. Now to do this, flip it upside down, pull, lift, and there's your batteries at the bottom. Now that is something that I forgot to do at first, and I was gutted after I'd balanced my camera. I couldn't play about with it. So maybe pause the video and do that now. So the main reason I bought the ZHIYUN WEEBILL S is because it's got little locking mechanisms on the sides that makes it really easy to carry about because it doesn't move. Plus, when you're setting it up, it makes it a breeze. So to keep things simple, I'm going to call it A, B, and C. To start off with, release B, lift it up, and lock it back. Locks it into position. Then go for C, which is on this side, the right hand side. Just take the weight off, lift it up, lock it, and then lock it back into position. Your gimbal should be looking something like this. Also, on the side here, it's got this side up. So the first thing you need to do is pick your camera up and just slide it into place. The camera will stop, don't worry. You can either push it back and it locks into place, a bit like a shotgun. Or there's a little cylinder on the left hand side, just press that in and it slides back, it locks into place. You are going to need to lock these off every time, otherwise it'll slip all over. So on the left hand side again, just above the little cylinder, you've got a little latch there, just latch that off. So now we need to find the centre of gravity. It needs to be stood up straight like this. So there's two things that we need to play with here. The first one is this little latch here. We need to release it and bring the camera forward because it's tilting back. Just keep playing around with it. It's just little micro adjustments, I mean millimeters. See, there's somewhere near. Because it is your first time and you are going to need to do a slight adjustments and you start getting yourself a bit stressed out, you feel like you want to throw the gimbal out of the window or smash it up, go and have yourself a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and come back. I find it helps. So the next thing we need to do is tilt your camera up and it needs to stay in that position. Obviously we're well off balance there, so what we need to do, at the front of the gimbal there's half a wing nut. Just release that wing nut and lift the camera up. So we now got the camera balanced this way. So you now need to be going over to lock B. To release it, just take the weight off slightly, lift it, release, and the camera automatically fell to the left. The reason the camera's fallen to the left is because of the weight of the gimbal and the motors are causing it to fall over to the left. Under the camera, under the fixer plate, there's a little latch. Release it, take it left, slide the camera over, fix it back on, and there we go. That wasn't a bad guess, was it? So as you're aware already, Canons have a flip out screen and you can flip it out while operating this gimbal. However, once you flip that out, it's going to affect the balance of the gimbal. You might be better off balancing the gimbal while the screen's actually out. Also, if you're going to be adding larger lenses, a microphone, any little things like this will affect the balance of the gimbal. So the next thing I'm going to call it the tilt test. So go over to A, which is going to release it, and you can see that it's not very well balanced. So on the front, on the left hand side, you've got something, I like to call it half a wing nut. I don't know what you would call it. Leave it in the comments below. Push it forwards or wherever it needs to be, and you're just going to have to play around with it until it stops moving. So there you go, ZHIYUN WEEBILL S balanced with a Canon M50. So if you found this video helpful, it sorted you out with the balancing, please give it a thumbs up, like, share and subscribe. It helps the channel out quite a lot. If you didn't like the video and you thought it was a load of rubbish, give it a thumbs down if you feel a need to. But do me a favour, if you're going to do that, write in the comments below and tell me why. If I don't know why, I can't improve, can I?